DJ Terrestrial.
Because whether the bias is unconscious or conscious, if it's unexamined, it can be profoundly problematic. An example I think of from a recruiting perspective, if you look at, I'll start this way. Most people do not know that only 40% of Americans over the age of 25 even have a bachelor's degree. So when you think of some of the roles that require a bachelor's degree, that's locking out nearly 60% of the available population. And then once you add to that the cost of an education, one of my degrees is from Brown University. The first year at Brown is estimated to cost $91,000. That's a lot of money. So is it that we just don't have the talent? Or is that the institutions that are supposed to provide us with the talent for the future are so prohibitively expensive that it becomes a roadblock as opposed to a vehicle for creating opportunity? So that's why I want to address the idea of unexamined biases. We should examine whether it's conscious or unconscious, examine all of it to ensure that it's not having a deleterious impact on appealing and securing talent that might have experience and skills in a whole variety of avenues. Now, with regard to people who might be hesitant around sharing aspects of themselves, I think of it in a particularly nuanced way. One, people have very good reason to worry. Why? Because there's ample evidence that despite claims for diversity, equity, inclusion, despite laws and the like, that people might be subjected to bias, prejudice, or dare I say discrimination. I think of one of the really powerful reports that came out during COVID in the summer of 2020. There was an economist researcher out of the University of Berkeley who was essentially sending out dummy resumes with stereotypically Black names and stereotypically white names. And then they found that in 2020, 2021, and 22, that naming discrimination was happening in select industries. And they said that they were actually going to pass on some of the insights and information to the federal government to investigate said industries. So there's information that would suggest that there is cause for concern. The other aspect I would say too is that in the world of both diversity, equity, inclusion, but then also leadership, people talk about this idea of bringing your authentic self forward, and you should bring your whole self to work. This is going to sound controversial because I'm a DEI leader, but people should not be bringing their full authentic selves to work because some of yourselves are a little boring. Some of yourselves are actually a little illegal. And we should actually be engaging in some degree of impression management. And that's not to be phony, but that's to be thoughtful around, frankly, there are some parts that are not necessarily necessary for you to share in a workplace context. There are also parts of you that are not worth sharing to people who haven't earned your trust. And I think that what people need to be considerate of is, what does an interviewer or what does an organization need to signal for me to choose to bring meaningful parts of myself forward? What do I need to see and what do I need to hear? I think that's kind of the most important part.